Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judgmo. Arsenal are meeting with Gyokeres, and it looks like they might land him. Chelsea are also interested in Gyokeres, but can they get him if they don't get Champions League football? We'll talk about that as well. Phil Foden criticized heavily. Manchester City linked with Birch. Does that mean Phil Foden isn't going to be a starter? Can he go back to his best? And Liverpool plot twist. Okay, Soraida, stop spamming the chat. I get it. Hit that like button and subscribe, people. I know you know a new trick, Soraida, but it's fine. Don is going to be here. He just had a phone call with work. He's going to be here in a second. Hit that like button, people. And Liverpool are actually looking to offer Newcastle 4 players to land Alexander Isak after the contract talks have been a little bit halted and paused by Newcastle for Alexander Isak. But hit that like button if you are here now. And if you're watching this on the replay, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I actually want to start with Trent.
Well,
yeah. What do you have to say? What did you think? Okay, Tom thinks he's a rat.
Okay.
Rat, like complete
Tom
rat.
Little?
Of course he does.
I actually, there is a video on my channel.
Oh my gosh.
If we talk, just go and watch the first 2 minutes. Just, and you understand.
I
And
can understand
Sam thinks
him
it's
feeling that
FSG
way.
point.
I feel like, of course, like you're super emotional because he's your academy guy and, you know, you get super attached to those guys and, you know, try to put myself in their shoes. If Saka were to do the same and leave on a free, how would I feel? I wouldn't feel great. That being said, like, they've known for a long time that this was going to happen. When the news first came out like 8 months ago, we all knew he was going. I don't know where the Delulu came in, where they thought that that was just like a fake rumor. It never was fake. And I guess from my perspective, it's he's leaving you to go to the one club besides Barcelona that all players want to play for before their career ends. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's in his prime. He's won everything with you. He's leaving you with the prime. So it's not like he hasn't done his job. It's not like he came and did nothing and then left. And it's better than him leaving and going to a rival, which I saw some Liverpool fans saying things like, I thought he was, you know, maybe go Man City instead. And I'm like, why do you like, what is your brain doing right now? Like, he's leaving you to go to a team where literally if your player goes there, it just is what it is. Like, it's just life. Real Madrid wants you, you go. So yeah, I'm not quite sure where that hate really comes from, but I guess you have to see it happen with your own player. Maybe we would be the same way with Saka, but it just feels like you knew this was going to happen. So like a snake, I don't think so. I just think it's maybe unfortunate you didn't get a fee, but Real Madrid were always going to get in right when that deal ended so that they could get him on a free. So I don't know, Kel, what do you think?
I'd be more mad at the executives who allowed this contract situation to happen. Like you said, they've known for a long time about this. They knew about this last year.
Yeah.
You know, they know he only signed what, a 4-year deal? Like, start negotiating this contract in year 2. And I think City have kind of started to become aware of this whole Real Madrid is starting to do this leverage where they're leveraging these players to go on a free. And I think that's why you saw a 10-year contract for Erling Haaland. He may end up at Real Madrid, but at least City aren't going to get nothing for him. So I am blaming the front office for this. I'm not blaming the player.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he's won everything for his team. He's, you know, he's a lifelong Scouser. He's been there his whole life. And he's helped them win literally everything. And I don't think you can get mad at him for chasing for being wooed and going to the biggest team in the world by far. And I can't get mad at the player, but I can understand there's like a sense of betrayal from the Scousers because like that's their boy and he's one of them and he's leaving us. But, you know, at least he's leaving the country. You're not going to face him that often.
Exactly.
To the Champions League.
I disagree. I think he actually knew 2 years ago. That is my opinion. And I said that plenty of times. Like he knew and he kept the club in the dark and he did them dirty by leaving on a free, someone from the academy, someone like this. I know that people tell me that if the club don't see you as adequate or as good enough, they will sell you right away. I know that, right? But at the end, Trent, as at Liverpool, you do not go on a free. You at least give the club some money. But he actually, and I get it, he looked out for himself, which is fine. A man looks out for himself. Any player will look out for himself. You know, like he cared about himself. He didn't care about the club. And maybe because he knows that if he signed a contract with Liverpool, someone actually put that yesterday on the video that I did yesterday. Maybe he knew that if this club in particular, Liverpool Football Club, they don't let go of players. If he signed a new contract, they would not have let him go. And he said this is the only way. And I'm going to see a backlash anyway. Maybe that is the case. I don't know. But to me, go ahead.
I feel like there's still a big difference between looking out for yourself and being selfish in a career where you only players only need to focus on themselves because clubs don't care about you. Just like you said, if he didn't feel like he would get a move that he wanted, if he had re-signed, it also shows that the club doesn't care about him. It is an incredibly short career. So to me, there's a huge difference. When you say a snake is somebody that, like, I feel like did you so dirty. To me, there's a huge difference between being selfish and being a snake.
So would you be okay if Saka in 2 years, for example, and I'm single out, imagine 2 years, Saka keeps telling you, I love the club, I want to stay here. This is my club, this is my boyhood club, it means more and all this stuff. And you got attached and all this stuff. And then the club keeps offering him contracts and he keeps delaying the contract situation. Because until a couple of months ago, Trent was still offered the contract. That means he didn't tell the club, F off, I'm leaving anyway. Or maybe KJ said yesterday that maybe the club was trying still to convince him. Yeah. And based on the reports, he was going to be offered the biggest ever contract for an English player ever in the history. So if Liverpool are offering you this and you still keeping them in the dark about leaving, don't you think that is a snake move? Like, there is a difference between I want a new challenge, I want everything here, I like it, I'm leaving anyway, I need to go, blah, blah, blah. But he's like keeping everything in the dark, keep sending love to the fans, buttering them up, as Igal said yesterday, and then leaving. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, Mo, you have to look at it from his perspective. Is if he doesn't butter the fans up, and earlier on this season, they know from the very beginning that he's not, going to stay. What is the energy going to be like towards him? What is going to be like? I get what you're saying, but I don't see a situation where he comes out and says like, oh, well, I'm leaving. And that becomes the better way that he handled it. I think you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. He did what was best for him. There's no evidence that Liverpool were actually going to offer him this contract. It sounds good to say that you're going to do that so that the fans feel like, oh, well, Trent just didn't want to sign, but Liverpool are fucking cheap as fuck. That they've always been like that. Do I really believe that they're going to offer him that shit?
Yes, really. There are reports that are offered. Like, I'm not speculating.
No, I get that there's reports.
I'm not. This is not coming from Judge Mo.
No, I'm not saying it's coming from you, but like
it's Paul Joyce who said he was gonna be offered that much.
Yeah, but Paul Joyce is also a mouthpiece for Liverpool, so he can say whatever the club want him to say. We're all in the dark. In my mind, players are gonna need to do what's best for them. He doesn't want to stay. He wants to go Real Madrid. It's the one club where I feel like I would give any player a pass. You've known for over a year that this guy was probably going to kick rocks. His actions said that because he didn't sign a new deal, whatever deal was offered to him. So I understand being upset, but putting him in snake status, my snake status, is, I guess, way different than a Liverpool snake status.
No, but there is nothing more. To be honest with you, I don't think there is anything more than this. Let me do this couple of super chats. Big up Paul Defy saying, tell Osam he has some bad behaving. Tim Pot mods. I'm not attacking anyone personally. Don Osam unbanned me, and 3 days I was banned again. I'm gonna tell him, Wolves Defy. I promise you, I'm gonna see. I'm a managing moderator on Osam channel. I'm gonna see who's banned and who's not. So I'm gonna just see what is happening. And big up Nick. By the way, guys, Nick couldn't make it. It's past midnight in Australia. Apologies, I couldn't make it. It's past midnight here. Big up Mo, ladies, and Don when he comes in. I'll back Chelsea over United any day of the week. We'll see about that. But big up Nick. Sorry, I'm not sure if you guys met Nick before. Nice guy, Australia. There's a lot of Liverpool content and a lot of reaction content as well on other channels as well. So big up Nick. Thank you so much. I know you couldn't make it. He texted me and said it's too late. And also we actually started late. So it's not only his fault. It's my fault that I started late a little bit. This was supposed to be start on time. Guys, can we get the likes up to 100? There's over 200 people in the house and we aren't even on 100 likes. Hit that like button in this early morning for the ladies, of course. And it's kind of early afternoon for me because I just woke up about like an hour and a half ago. So it is early for me as well. So hit that like button, people. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Listen, do you, as an Arsenal fan, does that mean anything to you, Jess, in terms of like next season and all the stuff? Since you are the club that is supposed to.
Oh yeah, the heir apparent.
Not
this season.
Not necessarily. I feel like I'm trying not to focus too much on what I'm seeing right now and what I'm seeing because nobody could have. Most people did not predict the way that the season was going to go. Most people predicted that Man City would still be where they are and they could go right back up there. So in terms of Liverpool, it depends on how they recruit. I'm sure they'll sell Nunez. They might even sell Jota. That will give them a good chunk of change to go after maybe like an Isak or something like that. So not necessarily. I would want to see like if all three of them leave, then I'm sure that would hit them in some capacity. But I try not to project too much because it's kind of like you just never really know how teams are going to rebound from certain things. They could just kind of be like, oh, well, and still, recruit properly. But if I was a Liverpool fan, I guess I'd be shitting bricks, but it depends on what Salah and Van Dijk do, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous if I was a Liverpool fan because like out of the three that had these free contracts, you would have expected the youngest one, Trent, to stay. And you might have expected like Van Dijk and Salah to move on because they are a little bit older. Yeah. So the fact that it's Trent, who's like the first one out the door, it should be alarming for all of the Liverpool supporters.
See, I think of it like the opposite direction that, like when Van Dijk and Salah had the opportunity that Trent had to move clubs and go to a big club, their option was Liverpool, where Trent's now is Real Madrid, so he, like I said, he has his whole career ahead of him. So this is like his chance to like book it and go. So yeah, but from a Liverpool perspective, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be annoyed or pissed off. I'm just saying when you put somebody in snake status, you're talking about somebody that can never come back. You don't ever want to see back at the club. That type. And I'm not sure.
They don't want to see him back at the club. They don't want even to play. They don't want.
I'm not sure that going to Real Madrid.
If Trent right now said, I've changed my mind, staying, they are taking him back in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not do that. They are just
the end of the season, though. It's going to get ugly. I'm surprised they didn't give him the Stevie G threats.
yeah, exactly. Listen, Gerrard could have had a bigger legacy. Gerrard could have had a bigger legacy. If he came to my club, he would have had a lot more in the game. You know what I mean? But he decided to stay there. They got him scared. You know what I'm saying? Rooney, same thing as Rooney. You know what I mean?
Did he say if he went to Chelsea, he would have had more legacy, bigger legacy than Liverpool?
Of course he would, boy. He would have won way more.
Yeah, but he would have been one of the guys. The difference is he's Mr. Liverpool. He would have been next to Lampard, Drogba, Broski. You have Lampard, Drogba, John Terry. With all due respect, Steven Gerrard is great.
No. With all due respect for you, you're talking about Gerrard like he's a nobody.
He's amazing. Gerrard is one of the best midfielders to ever play in the Premier League. He's one of the best ever players in the Premier League, but that is different. Like, anyway, he's Mr. Liverpool. But I want to move on from Liverpool and the Salah and Sting situation, to be honest with you. Actually, I think if Salah and Van Dijk leave and they don't get Isak, I think Liverpool will be a little bit in trouble next season. In trouble. Like Trent leaving, I don't think it affects them one bit. By the way, I don't think it affects them one bit. By the way, they can sign a right back. He can back. I don't think it affects him
going forward because he does contribute.
He didn't contribute. He didn't contribute this season. Arne's
Well,
not
yeah,
didn't
think
use him.
about like in Klopp's system, Trent was like super like he had to be on it. But in Slot's system, it doesn't feel like without him, it means that they can't win a game kind of thing, you know, or they don't have that special whatever. It's really been Van Dijk and
Salah
this
and Gravenberch,
season.
basically. That is the whole team. Gravenberch, Salah, Van Dijk. That's it.
Yeah.
Basically,
it doesn't really overlap anymore. That was the main
doesn't.
thing. That's the main
Picking
thing.
up a lot more injuries too. He's been out a lot of this season.
Yeah, I
Could
think
be an alarming sign. Maybe all that years of Klopp ball is catching up to him.
Yeah, I think what it is with Trent, we're seeing him having like a more of like a lesser role, because before with Klopp, the whole creativity, their main creativity even came from Robertson and Trent. Everyone had these two in their FPL because you knew that they're going to get you assists, bro. You knew that they could score you a goal. But we're not seeing Trent bombing up and down. It's quite similar to Reece James at the minute. Reece James isn't bombing down up and down anymore. His role's kind of changed, you know, but he's still a key player, bro. Trent still contributed, you know, but I just think it's a different role. It's a different role that he's been playing.
Well,
should have given him the Gallagher
bigger part next season.
Should have given him the Gallagher treatment 2 years ago.
The thing is, yeah, that's the only thing that I would say. Like with Trent, if he's decided to keep it to himself for 2 years and not allow Liverpool to basically make any money from him, that's the only thing where I'm looking at it and saying, okay, that's a little bit snaky in it. I know Jess has got her own sort of terminology. I'm listening to you guys about what a snake is. It is low-key snaky to just keep quiet and then just dip on the free when you know that the club could have got a lot of money for you, right? Obviously, Madrid, they're doing a little, they're using their what's the word?
Their aura.
Yeah, they're using their aura to say, yo, we ain't trying to pay a mad thing for you, right? It's on our terms. They did a similar thing. Yeah, they did a similar thing for Euro. They weren't trying to pay over 25 million for this guy, and then United were happy to pay the extra. So that's why he ended up going to United in the end, right?
This is why the clubs have to wisen up. They're gonna have to start giving out those long-term contracts.
Yeah, exactly. Listen,
get the money for your players.
100%, and that's why for me, like as much as there's some cons about the long-term contracts Chelsea are offering, there are some pros about it, and this is one of the pros. If you don't sign a new contract when you've got 2 years left, Chelsea are going to sell you, right? Or you sign another one. So we're not losing you for free. We lost Rudiger on a free because we couldn't offer this guy over 400k a week, right? And then obviously the whole thing happened with the sanctions. We couldn't give any new contracts. Ended up leaving on the free. Chelsea don't want to happen again. But with Trent, people need to understand, right? If you've got owners like FSG and you're looking at your age, you're 26, 27, this is your last big contract, really. You're going to be looking at, okay, who are you bringing in to help me win these titles? Who are you bringing in to help us, you know, retain the Prem? Who are you bringing in to help me win the Champions League again, right? Because football careers are short. You know, when after the next 3-4 years, Trent's going to be in his 30s. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. Injury could happen. Anything could happen. So you got to look at the bigger picture here. Yes, in the short term, they've still got Salah, they've still got the Van Dijks and that. But we know how FSG are, right? These guys don't want to. They've got the money. The thing is, they've got the money to spend because we literally saw last summer, they literally beat the British record for Caicedo out of nothing. No one expected them to do that. So they've got the money there, but their owners are more about sustainability and all of these things, right?
I think they're banking on signing Isak this summer. I'm like, no. Newcastle have no reason to sell Isak, so everybody dreaming about him, I think you guys need to go back to bed because I don't think Isak is leaving.
No, but they
Newcastle
offer. They're gonna the rumors today. I'm gonna go to the Isak situation. The rumors today is that they're offering 4 players in exchange for Isak plus money. Actually,
a bunch of
they're offering Kwanzaa, Gomez, Harvey Elliott, Pendo plus the money.
I think with Isak,
I don't want to go to Isak, but I want to just touch on something for Trent. You know that yesterday that Real Madrid told Trent, came out yesterday from Fabrizio or something or someone else, that they told him it's either you join us on our terms or we're not taking you.
That's what
they told him we don't value you like this. They literally told him it's either you come on our terms or we don't take you. So he had no choice but to keep Liverpool in the dark.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, Real Madrid are not like some begging you to come. They're like,
exactly. They don't want
we want you, but yeah, like so.
For Jude, okay, but here's the difference. For Trent, for Jude, they paid 100 million for Jude. They paid 100 million for Jude. If they wanted Trent that bad, they would have said, okay, we'll sign you last season. They told him it's either you come on a free. Basically, if you come on a free We're not signing you at all. Basically, they told the guy, we don't value you that much. You want us more than we want you. Literally, that's what they said.
But it's
And
the
there's,
thing,
I
though,
mean,
bro.
it's Real Madrid at the end of the day, guys. It's not like
Yeah, it's not like
Exactly.
some
This is what I'm
scrub.
saying. This is what I'm saying, Jess. It's not even like Trent at Man City, where you know, like they've been winning a lot. They've still got Pep. Like I know Man City need to go for a rebuild, but they're going to spend money, right? We know this in the summer. They're going to spend more money, right? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm kind of looking at it. Like, bro, you can't blame him for not wanting to still be a part of this whole FSG reign, you know, because it's a mess. You know, when you go around Madrid, you're guaranteed to get at least one Champions League over there. You know, you're guaranteed to win titles over there, right? Because they're I know Barcelona are a bit tight at the minute, but Madrid have a serious team in it. You know what I mean? Mbappe, Vinny, Rodrigo, Jude, Valverde. Look at all these players that they've got, man. It's ridiculous.
At some point, some of them are going to leave though, because there's just going to be too many cooks in the kitchen.
And I wanted to touch this.
Oh, go
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we always think with these top teams that surely, nah, them dudes are sitting on the bench, taking their little 20 minutes here and there. Ain't nobody leaving. I really don't think.
Last question before we move on. Anybody here thinks that Trent is not going to work as people think he's going to work at Real Madrid? Like he's not going to be the superstar? Does anybody think, based on his abilities and all this stuff?
It's really hard to be a superstar on Real Madrid because they just have so many of them. It's hard to really stand out.
I'm not gonna flip flop on Trent and act like all of a sudden I don't rate him, or I don't think he can go to a club where they're gonna have way more space. It's gonna be a little bit less physical, and he's
Also,
not gonna be
just
standing
a lot of generous calls. I guess they're getting that this season
standing
too,
somewhere in midfield, pinging passes right into the path of Mbappe and Vinny.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. So
let me ask you, Jess.
There's a lot of really bad teams in La Liga too that they can just beat up on. You don't really like even our relegation teams in the Premier League tend to put in more of an effort than theirs do.
Let me ask you a question, Jess. Do you think that they're going to come in for Saliba in the summer?
No, I don't. I think.
Do you think they're currently doing the same thing with Saliba right now, saying like, "Buddy, don't sign a contract and in 2 years you come to us"?
No, but Saliba's contract ends in 2027, so even next year he's not.
No, they still could just be like whispering them sweet nothing. Because then he'll be what 25, 26.
We had this conversation already, though.
For you. Because by then they'll have gotten rid of some of their high earners. They could be like, Saliba, this is
we've already had this discussion. I'm not under any sort of guise that he doesn't end up at Real Madrid at some stage. So if he doesn't sign a new deal, he'll leave after the contract, and it'll be the same thing as Trent, but he's not an academy guy, so he won't be quite different. But the idea that he's not going to leave this summer, so which is what I said before. Everybody was like, well, if you guys don't win anything, he'll leave this summer. He won't. He'll leave when the contract runs out. It'll be the same thing. Like,
and I want to take this conversation.
She's already resigned to the fact 2 years in
The Gyokeres thing.
I'm not deluded. Anybody on this panel, if their player gets approached by Real Madrid seriously, they're booking and they're leaving. Like it's not.
You lock them up.
No. Players.
Like I said, more 10-year contracts.
Oh, maybe not most players, because Italian players don't leave.
Exactly. That's because of the pasta and the pizza and the quality of life. Because of the quality of life, the pasta and the pizza. You know, the cheese and.
I would not leave Italy if I had access to that kind of gelato every day.
Barella has like 4 kids, bro, and he's like, I'm raising these kids in Italy. I'm not leaving.
Much better food, yeah. Prosciutto, oh yeah. All the yummy stuff's coming into season now.
Guys, we have over 400 people in the house, and we aren't even on 100 likes, believe it or not. Hit that like button underneath your live chat. Also, Don CFC, She Knows Arsenal, and Jessica Black TV in the description as well. Also, Nick's channel in the description. Gyokeres, so yesterday, Arsenal met with Gyokeres camp. That is what is reported during the international break. They want Gyokeres. Chelsea still want Gyokeres. Do you think Gyokeres is the right guy? And also, do we think that Chelsea can compete with Arsenal in terms of the signing of Gyokeres? Does Champions League make a difference with Chelsea?
Yeah, bro, it does. I don't think it's the be-all, end-all, but you'd rather be in there than not. I literally saw it last season with Olise. He decided to go to Bayern Munich because they had Champions League football and they offered him more money than what was looking to offer him as well, bro. So for these top players, for these top players right now, Arsenal need a striker, Chelsea need a striker, Liverpool need a striker. Liverpool obviously going to get Champions League. Very likely Arsenal will as well. So we need to make sure that we're not leaving ourselves short where it's like, oh yeah, we're going for Gyokeres, but it's picking Arsenal because they're playing in Champions League, right? Because these things do happen. We're the best of the best. They want Champions League football, bro. You know what I mean? And right now, Chelsea aren't offering crazy wages like what they used to with Roman. We offer long-term contracts, cool, but we're not offering 350k or 250k for guys like Havertz and these guys. They've done nothing at the club, but they're being paid handsomely. You know what I'm saying? So we need it. We need it, man, because this summer, I don't want to be just taking guys like Delap. I like Delap. I think Delap would be good with an additional striker who's got more experience, who's older than him, who's, played in Europe already, maybe even won stuff already. And then you bring him in as like an understudy. That would be great. But yeah, if you don't get Champions League football, bro, you run that risk of not being as attractive as others that have.
100%.
Especially for Gyokeres, because he's a little bit older too, and he's like 26, 27. So he probably wants like a serious chance at trophies.
And especially apparently he didn't want Nottingham Forest. Okay, that's the news because of he wants teams
that check on Wolfie.
No, we did have a whole 45 minutes on Wolfie the other day.
I saw him on Alahua and he was roasting everyone. It was hilarious.
And so he wants a team that will be able to compete in the next 3-4 years for the big European trophies. And that is, I'm not sure if that is Chelsea, to be honest, if they don't make Champions League this season. Is that Arsenal? If that Arsenal, maybe, probably. If Arsenal are still targeting Zubimendi with this Berta guy, they get Gyokeres. I think Arsenal are going to be there and thereabout in the next 2-3 years. They're going to try to compete. Is Arteta is the guy to win them trophies? A lot of people think no. But I think with players like Gyokeres, Zubimendi, and the other players that are Arsenal, Nico Williams, yes, Arsenal can win trophies. They can challenge for Champions League. They can challenge for the league. They can try to win some of the cups. They can actually win the league next season as well. What is stopping them? Right? If
we're like probably the one team, like everybody does the same thing in the summer. If so-and-so and so-and-so gets blah, 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 then they'll blank. We're the exact same. If Arsenal gets striker, blah, blah, we'll be blank. Like that's, so.
I don't know if I guess just one player is like the panacea to fix Arsenal. I think.
Yeah, but a lot of people know, but there's a difference. Yes. I think Sisco's not the guy for Arsenal. I think Osimhen, Gyokeres, I think Cisco.
That's what I was getting to. I feel like with a winger and a striker, I really think people are overthinking it. Like they're going way too far. Most teams have attackers that can create their own chances for themselves and their teammates. There are not a lot of midfielders out there besides like Verts and maybe Shirky that get like 12, 15 assists. Most midfields are hardworking these days. Your attackers have to be able to create their own shit. Martinelli and Kai Havertz need tap-ins, and we're not creating that amount for them. So I think with a new striker, and I said this before, a new striker, new winger, we're a lot closer to where we want to be. Nothing guarantees shit, but we're definitely in a better position than what we are now. Because with Arsenal, it's not about how many goals we score necessarily, it's when we score. There are certain players that will score the third, fourth goal in a rout, in an easier game. They'll score against a Leicester, whatever. We need players that are going to score the goals when shit gets tough. And that's what we don't have right now. So nothing guarantees anything. And the best thing about getting the attackers is that then there's no excuse. And then you really can see Arteta for who he is. Because that's the only question left is he, if he gets his attackers, will he blank? So yeah, I want whatever Berta wants. I'm like the sporting director. I would love for him to come in and have different targets. I don't care about the targets that we've had. I want whatever he wants. Like he's bought so many strikers for Atletico. So I'm expecting one. And if it's Gyokeres, it's Gyokeres. If it's, whoever. But for my personal opinion, I want a number 9. I don't want some player that's a false 9 kind of player or plays in 2 striker system. I don't want none of that shit. None of that shit. We already have that. We need the opposite to what we've had with Jesus and Kai. And that is somebody who just wants to kick the ball in the back of the net. That's it. So that looks like
another
Gyokeres.
project player, another upcoming talent.
Somebody's going to end up with
Gyokeres and then end up
somebody's
with
ending up with Sesko. Somebody's getting Ekatike. So somebody's getting Gyokeres. So, and we're all looking for
a shout.
Wait, hold on, Jess. What positions do you want in the summer? Do you want a striker or what else do you want?
A winger.
A midfielder.
A winger where? What position?
Left wing.
Left wing. So you don't want any midfielders?
No, I want, but at the bare minimum, like the midfield is, we would need another, bring in another.
It's a priority, right? Like number one is a striker, number two is priority. Everyone needs 7 players. I want 100 players at my club. Everyone does.
That striker and that winger. Are you
looking at your midfield and you don't want a little revamp in that midfield then?
Yeah, you guys need some midfielders, I think.
Yeah, a revamp. Yeah, a little revamp, bro. A mini one.
My feeling is that when one part of the pitch is so poor, then it affects everything else. I think if you have attackers that actually just put the ball in the back of the net, the midfielders that we have will look a lot better. We definitely need a midfielder or two. We could use at least one, but I'm really looking at those attackers. I really think people are overthinking it. I really don't think people understand how bad our attackers are in comparison to anyone else.
I hope your club are listening, because I hope you keep rising the 8. Hopefully Partey stays somehow. You know what I'm saying?
Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he does not.
In that right half space.
It's a bad luck for any club.
Hopefully he does not. I hope he walks right out of that door.
Maybe Real Madrid will woo him because he's on a free.
He has been good this season. I know that you have other reasons for it, but he has been, in terms of football. Yes. Yeah, but in terms of football, he has been good this season. I actually think Arsenal need another attacking midfielder. To be honest,
I keep saying this.
Who should they go for then? Turkey? Because
there's Gibbs White right there.
Wirtz is going to stay in Germany.
Gibbs White.
Gibbs White is right there. Yeah, Gibbs White.
You think Arsenal are going to win the title with Gibbs White?
You can offer them something that they're not getting right now. Right? He's someone
if Arsenal are going to sign an attacking midfielder, it needs to be Palmer level. It needs to be, with all due respect, it needs to be someone that is a high level, not, with all due respect to Gibbs White. He's a good player.
You can do Gibbs White, but you need
Gibbs White.
You sign.
Hold on. I know. You get Gibbs White, and then when you don't win the league, you tell them, but you didn't sign the ready-made players. You signed Gibbs White from Nottingham Forest. That is the problem with Arteta.
Gibbs White is like Robin. You need the Batman first. The two of them together would work really well together.
Hold on, Mo. Let's be realistic now, because I'm talking about realistic targets. They can't go and get Musiala, can they? They can't go and get, even Wirtz will be very hard to go and get right now. I think he's probably going to go maybe Madrid.
Wirtz is going to stay in Germany.
Yeah, I think he'll probably.
I do feel like there's better options out there in the universe.
Gibbs White.
But I don't know, the way you're turning your nose up at Gibbs White is crazy to me, because he's a very good player, bro. Very good.
I'm not turning my nose up to Gibbs White.
Not you, Jess.
Oh, Gibbs White is. I like him for where he's at, but when there's I would prefer us to maybe go for Shirky. If he's available for the 20 million.
But you haven't even seen Turkey in the Prem. And Turkey don't work like
to me, honestly,
Turkey apparently has attitude problems.
Prem proven is so overrated. It's a myth. If you're good enough, you will make it in the Premier League. I really think people overrate Prem proven.
Yeah, you might struggle for a couple of months.
Hold on, Jess. I'm not saying it's the be all end all. I'm not saying
people struggle on teams.
You're talking about a guy that's a seasoned professional now, right? He's obviously older than Turkey. He's got more experience than him, right? He already knows the league. He knows the stadiums. He knows the country. There's no adaptation period. The only adaptation period he's got to go through is the fact that he's going from a Forest to a big club. That's the main thing. Whereas Turkey,
don't say that to Wolfie. He's gonna come on and yell at you.
There's so many more things that Turkey needs to adapt to in comparison to a Gibbs White. Is what I'm saying.
Can I tell you something? I actually don't think that Gibbs White is the right profile for Arsenal at all. Nottingham Forest play a transition-based football, a counter-attacking brand of football against the majority of the teams. Arsenal are a position-based football. They average 62% ball position or more in the league.
Yeah, but it's the majority.
But hold the point. Arsenal, okay, let me tell you something. The problem with Arsenal is that Chelsea and Man City have the leeway to go next season with a bit of ifs or might. It can work, it cannot work. You know what I mean? Bro, Arsenal have no leeway. This is it. This is it. If you get someone that is not sure, that you're not sure it's going to work, that doesn't play that system that works with Mikel Arteta, done. You are someone who tells Arsenal fans, don't talk before you win anything. Don't talk before you win anything. You haven't won anything. And then when you get a Gibbs White, who hasn't played in a position-based team, and then it doesn't work for him and he struggles to get like 15 GA, you haven't won the league. But you told us to get Gibbs White. You told us to get Gibbs White.
It's what I'm asking you, Mo. So look, think about it like this, right? With Gibbs White, I get it. Yes, he's playing in a different system. It's transitional football most of the time. He's not really facing a lot of low blocks and that as well. As you know, he's not playing for one of the big clubs, right? But he's a good creator, bro. I mean, I'm even checking just this season alone. He's got 8 big chances created, right? He's got 7 assists.
Probably Odegaard has more than this, and he's not even having a good season.
I don't think Odegaard does. I'm trying to find Odegaard right now, right? But Gibbs White knows how to create. He can make something out of nothing a lot of the time. And again, it will take some adapting to do. But I think he's quite underrated. I'm not saying he's the best option for them. I'm just saying someone that's more realistic. We know him in the league. I think it would be a good signing, personally. I think it would be a good signing.
So in terms
he's like
of
the second signing you make. He's not the first signing you make.
Thank you. Second midfielder.
I never said priority.
Robin, and he needs a Batman.
I never said priority. You bring him with players, that's calm.
With the number 10 signing needs to be somebody that can come in when we're can play against the deep blocks. When we play against teams that open up, we don't have problems. That's not our problem. You can play Declan Rice in the 8 and Odegaard in another 6. That's how we play most of the time. When we play against a deep block, we need to be able to bring in somebody to play left 8 that can unpick a lock. I understand that we need that, but I'm telling you right now, even with the chances that we create, if we had a fucking striker and a left wing with a brain, we would score goals. It's not that deep. It's not that deep.
I know this. You lot have a similar problem to Chelsea, right? In terms of your striking, your striker that you've got right now. But at the same time, you've also got a creativity issue in your team. That's just the facts of it. Yeah,
Odegaard's
in terms of the top 5 teams. In terms of the top 5 teams, Arsenal aren't even in there when it comes to chance creation. You're not.
Hearing Odegaard being compared to De Bruyne.
What do you mean? Top what?
The teams that have created the most chances in the Prem, the top 5 teams, Arsenal aren't in there. Right, it's Chelsea, it's Man City, it's Brighton, it's Tottenham, it's Liverpool as well. Arsenal aren't in there, right? If you go check their midfielders, Hold on, I showed you last week. Midfielders have created the most chances in the league. They haven't got a single midfielder in there. Chelsea have 2. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like Arsenal have a creativity issue as well as a finishing issue. I get what Jess is saying. Like we create chances. No one's saying that you don't create chances at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you could create even more if you bring in a profile in the midfield who knows how to consistently create. Their first thought is, let me just play a quick pass. You know what I mean? In between the lines. Like if you look at Palmer, for example, you see Palmer, he gets the ball. A lot of the time in those positions, outside the box, he's looking to create. You know what I'm saying? You look at KDB, he's looking to create a lot of the time, right? Rice, we know he's not an 8. We know he's not an 8. You know what I mean? He should be moved back to a 6, and then you bring in an 8.
We're not going to do that, though. I think that, I feel like we can talk about this to the cows come home. Most Arsenal fans would change the system completely and go back to a system that just had a number 10 and all that kind of stuff. That's not how we play. Arteta's always going to have 2 more defensive plus Odegaard. That's why I'm saying, like, all of this, you need to go and get a Palmer type and all that. Yeah, if we could change the system's not changing. 3 workhorse midfielders, 2 6s, and an 8. That is how we're going to play. So those attackers have to be able to create their own shit. They have to. I'm telling you. Like, without that, and I even look at, like, different metrics for midfielders outside, like, good teams, PSG, for example, Barcelona, teams that score lots of goals, their midfielders don't have 10, 12 assists. They don't. They have 5, 4, Vitinha in them, 5, 4 assists, Pedri, 5, 4 assists, whatever. But Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, those types, Rafinha, they create for each other and they create for them fucking selves. We need that because our system is not going to change. That's what I'm saying. Our system is not going to change.
I hear it, but for me, if I was an Arsenal fan right now, I'd be looking at Liverpool, I'd be looking at Chelsea, I'd be looking at even a Man City, right? And if all these teams have creativity and goals coming from their midfield, as well as a good attack, as well as a striker, then I'm worried about potentially falling behind them. Because yes, we bring in a striker, you bring in a Sesko, you bring in I don't know, an Isak. But then you're looking at Chelsea, we've got Palmer, Enzo creating bare chances. We're bringing Gyokeres, we're bringing Osimhen. Straight away, I'm looking at our attack, and I'm sorry, I would prefer my attack in comparison to yours. Yeah, we're bringing a Nico Williams, we're bringing a Semenyo or someone like that, right? Because we've got more people, we've got more numbers that can be generated from the players that we've got, right? And that's the point that I'm making. You know what I mean?
See, they have a little secret weapon that nobody else seems to have. Is their set pieces are just so much better than everyone else's in the league. That does help them in some games. Yeah, but it's hard to rely on it though.
That's that we've literally scored the same amount of set pieces, but they
actually scored one set piece in like 1.5 months, basically.
Yeah,
and that was against
Chelsea.
Also,
that
was bottom of the planet. I missed a lot of games.
I remember being on a stream with you, Don, not like maybe a year ago, and you were saying very similar things about Arsenal doesn't create enough chances, this and that. That was the beginning of the other season, and then the exact same midfield that we have now has the ability to create a lot more chances. We all fucking know that. It's really literally not just like we need to retool the whole midfield. Arteta needs to stop being like, Mo, we've spoken about this. Stop putting the handbrake on and just let motherfuckers play. Just let people play. Stop being so stiff.
That's easier said than done. We know this guy's pragmatic. We know this guy's pragmatic.
No, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, hear me out. Okay,
my new this way. Like,
my new theory. My new
he's
theory.
Not pragmatic.
He's not pragmatic. My new theory this season. You know why I say that Arsenal, even though they failed in their objective, they are still second with all the injuries. Who else in the league with a better manager had kind of similar injuries this season? Man City. Where are they now? Fighting for top 5. Let me tell you the difference, Don. Let me tell you what I mean. What Arteta did is not right. But what Arteta did is that he made sure that I'm staying second. He literally made sure I'm staying second. I'm still he's still with all these injuries and he has the best defense. He hasn't let anyone play. I'm still going to be the best defense in the league. I'm going to make sure that even if I don't win the league at the end of the season, I'm going to go to the public and say, we overachieved because we are second. Look at Man City. Basically, Pep Guardiola, even with injuries, and Kel could tell you this all season, she would say, we have no midfield. Why are you attacking every game? And look at them now, Man City. They're fighting for top 5. They might miss out.
Now we have no back line either.
I believe that if Mikel Arteta didn't have the injuries, we would have seen the same Arsenal as last season. He would have tried to go forward. He would have tried to play progressive football. But because he had the injuries and Jess was right. He said it once Odegaard got injured. He said he doesn't trust the attack. So he wants to be more defensive to make sure that Arsenal don't lose. I believe it. Because he keeps telling them.
Hold on, Mo.
Okay, hold on, Don. Let me finish. Making it right or wrong is different than what the actual thing that happened. I agree it's wrong. Arsenal could have won for a lot of games. But him telling the media, Don, that, by the way, all these injuries and we're still second, we still achieved. That's what he told the media. He believes that he achieved because with all these injuries, he's still second. While others like City,
you guys are just completely downplaying.
The bigger picture here, him trying to flex second is not a flex, bro. Right? It's not a flex because it's not like he's coming up against a Man City team that have been performing or a Chelsea team that haven't fallen off since fucking Christmas, right? And bare people around us being mad inconsistent. Him himself has regressed. Arsenal's points this season in comparison to last season, they've gone down. So he can flex, oh yeah, we're still second as much as he wants. But we all know that Arsenal have probably the best defense in the league, right? They've got Saliba and Gabriel at the back, and they've got some good fullbacks as well. So what do we really expect?
Timber's having a great season.
They've drawn a lot of games this season. And even before their injuries, I was calling Odegaard out. This guy was not playing well before the injuries, right? It was Saka that was turning up for their attack, and Havertz was turning up at the beginning of the season, and then he started to go down a cliff. And I even told Roms, because I remember Roms was a bit worried, like, when Odegaard comes back, they're going to go on a run, like Odegaard's going to be cooking for them. I said, bro, I'm telling you, even before this guy got injured, he was not good at the start of the season, right? So it's a bigger than just injuries. Because I've looked at their overall performances. Before these guys went, they were still getting gapped. They were still getting gapped. I think you're forgetting that, bro. You know what I mean? Arsenal were not playing great this season. I can count on probably one hand the very good performances I've seen from Arsenal this season in comparison to last year, where I can give you a bigger list, right? They've regressed, and that's the bigger thing that we need to talk about here. Instead of, oh, we're still second. You're second, you've won nothing, and you've got less points than last season. So what are you really flexing? You know what I'm saying? What are you really flexing? I heard that
trouble.
I'm not having it, bro. I'm not having it.
Second place 3 seasons in a row.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, we're second, we're still second. Yeah, okay, cool. You're second. Now what? You've got less points. Man City are falling off a cliff. Chelsea are falling off a cliff. What are you really flexing? You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't know if Arteta was actually flexing. And I don't know if any Arsenal fans view second as some sort of like trophy or anything either. So
no, they do, Jess, trust me.
Nah, we all know what you celebrate as trophies. Same thing as your neighbors up north.
Oh, I celebrated that 5-1 Kel. Absolutely. I did. I
couldn't
wait
trophy,
to get here.
I couldn't wait in the league.
I couldn't wait.
You know,
No.
and
I'm gonna explain to you guys. We had a show about Arsenal achieving or not achieving and who overachieved. But Chelsea would prefer Arsenal defense, though. Done with it.
Of course we would, bro. Listen, give me their defense, and my position is swapped. We're gonna swap round, right? We've literally scored the same amount of goals as these guys, and our midfield has comfortably been better than theirs, bro. The major difference is our defense. That's the major difference between Chelsea and Arsenal, bro.
Your midfield has been better than them. All right.
Of course it has, bro. Enzo and
having a really good season.
Caicedo alone. And even if you talk about Palmer hasn't been great, but he's still got 20 GA. Their midfield has not been better than Chelsea's this season, bro. Impossible.
Palmer's having a rough life without all
what
the
you
penalties.
said, Mo, what you said is the definition of pragmatism. But the whole point is that Arteta, okay, we have seen Arteta for 2 seasons play very attacking football, right?
Yeah,
this season he turned
crazy,
into pragmatist. He turned into pragmatist, my man. But that is the whole point because of the circumstances. Can I ask a question to everyone? If Saka and Odegaard didn't get injured, and Salah and Van Dijk had the same injuries as Saka and Odegaard, do you think Arsenal would have won the league? I just want to yes or no question.
Wait, ask that again.
If Saka and Odegaard didn't get injured this season, and Salah and Van Dijk had the same kind of injuries, Van Dijk was out for 3 months at Odegaard, and Salah was out from December or January until the end of the
one
season.
more person to that question too.
I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna make these two. Do we think?
What if Rodri didn't get injured?
Yeah, I think it would have been close.
That's probably the biggest question.
I'm not putting. Now, if Rodri didn't get injured, I don't think he would have won the league anyway. Because you had.
We would have been up there contending though.
Yeah. Do you think?
Been close, yeah. I think the points would have been closer. But
no, we would if we had Rodri, we'd probably have.
You really don't think that Arsenal would won the league if Salah and Van Dijk had the same injuries as Saka and Odegaard, and Saka and Odegaard were fit all season?
Yeah, more of a possibility of them winning the league, yeah, for sure. I think Liverpool would concede way more goals because they haven't got Van Dijk. They're not winning as many games because bro, Salah's literally got what, like 90% of their fucking GA. Yeah, so I think they'll probably even finish third, if anything, bro. Third, fourth, maybe. They'll probably even get dragged into a top 5 battle.
So why do people say no then?
No, about what?
Why everyone says no? Arsenal would not have won the league.
No, I'm always going to doubt Arsenal until they win something because
no. See, that is not an argument. With all due respect to everyone in the world, with all due respect to everyone in the world, saying that is not an argument. That is not something I can hold. That is not something. That is just a feeling. That is, yeah, he doesn't have the
many times. They gagged with Saka and they gagged with Odegaard 2 seasons in a row.
I'm asking you about this season.
This season, though, yeah, Kel. If it was this season, right, where you're missing out on Rodri and they're missing Salah and Van Dijk, and they've got Saka and Odegaard, they definitely would be the favorites to win because they've got their key targets.
Yeah, they still have to go and do it before I can trust them.
If they don't,
that's not an argument.
They didn't win it because they bottled it so many times.
Well, if they didn't win it in those circumstances, then there's a curse, Jess. There's a curse at your club. If you still can't win the league with Saka and Odegaard fit, whilst these guys have got their key players out, then you're never going to win it, clearly.
Well, I believe, so my belief is that even if Saka and Odegaard were fit all season and the same circumstances now, Salah and Van Dijk are not injured, Liverpool would have won the league. I'm convinced, right? Because I believe that Liverpool have been the best team in the league and by far, right?
Yeah.
But if rules are reversed, it would have been different. The reason why I'm saying this, because based on the context and the circumstances that we have seen, and you can say Arsenal are fault for not planning right, for not planning a replacement for Saka, not planning a replacement for Odegaard, for relying so much. But Arteta has kept Arsenal second. He didn't fall out of the top 5 like Man City. He didn't go 1-12 like Pep Guardiola without Rodri. Pragmatic or not pragmatic, Arsenal are not sleeping tonight thinking I might miss on Champions League. LB, Nobbins, Kelk, a lot of people are saying we might miss on Champions League. There are articles saying that Pep Guardiola, for the first time in his career, might miss on Champions League because of injuries. And also,
you almost missed it that first season.
You spent 200 million in the January, and you are still in contention.
We also
that's why I said to you, Mo, and that's why I said to you, Mo, for Chelsea to compete and Chelsea to kick on, we've got to stop depending on injury-prone players. Because we've got a lot of injury-prone players who are key for us.
Yeah, the problem is Odegaard is not injury-prone and Saka's not injury-prone. That never happened before.
Saka was headed for something.
No, I'm saying in general. I'm saying in general. I'm saying this is why. Because even last season, I told these Arsenal fans, I said, bro, you lot have been lucky because in your first year and in your second year, you've barely had any injuries to your key players, right? The first year, people would tell you Saliba, fair enough, cool. Right, last year again, most of the time you knew Arsenal would be the same 11 most of the time.
Like no major injuries last
season. This is the first time where they've really suffered and they've been brought back down to earth. Yeah, and they felt what I felt for 3-4 years at my club. You know what I mean? I can't keep Lavia fit. I can't keep Reece fit. I can't keep Fofana fit. I've got guys like Fofana that have only played 20% of all the games.
Can't keep him fit.
Who?
Reece James.
I said Reece as well. So
you said Reece. Sorry.
I've been saying from time, like, you're not going to compete if you can't keep your main players fit. It's just, you know, it's not rocket science. Like, you need these guys to get over the line and actually win stuff, you know?
I feel like that's a little bit over the top, though. Like, we haven't felt what you guys felt the last 3-something years. We're not, we didn't finish in 8th or 12th or wherever you finished.
I'm talking about the amount of injuries that you've been getting, Jess, to your key players. That's the point that I'm making here. Like, Saka's been out for 4 months? How often does Saka get injured? Right, when
this is literally his first injury. Like, this is it. This is his first injury.
He's only had in his career 2 weeks maximum out.
Literally, Odegaard is not injury prone. So unless he comes back and keeps getting injured, he's not injury prone. Saka, this is his first injury. We know Havertz is not injury prone. So you guys are relying upon injury prone players.
Is that what happened?
Jess, you're missing the point. I don't get what you're saying. You're missing the point here. I'm saying to you that this is the first time that you've had some key players that have been out for an extended period of time.
Yes.
That's the point that I'm making. Chelsea have had
second.
We should have built a better squad.
Second time.
The first season. Partey's injury prone. We know Partey's been injury prone.
But Saliba, when Saliba and Partey got injured, they fell off completely. Done in that first season.
They did to be fair.
They fell off in that season. So that is the second time. It's a poor planning from Arteta and Edu on the board. This is poor planning.
I mean, but like, what's the reality we're coming back to, though? I'm trying to understand because we're still finishing second.
They've been getting injuries in bulk. Like, you can look at Martinelli, you can look at Havertz, you can look at Saka, you can look at Odegaard. Like, even Rice at the beginning was getting injured and whatnot. They've been getting injuries in bulk, and I'm sure Jess can agree that this is really the first time that's happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not a reality check.
It's like Timber
what
was
is
a
the
brand new
reality
player
check
for them
that we're
last
meant
season.
to have? Everybody
really
knows if you have injuries, you won't be able to compete the same. It's like, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to understand what the reality check you were talking about. We've come back down to reality.
Chelsea's midfield doesn't lace Arsenal's
people are telling me now we can still do it.
Walks into that midfield.
I'm gonna come back to the super chat, Joe.
Yeah, we need to come back to that because whenever we play against them, that midfield does nothing. So
Chelsea's midfield doesn't lace Arsenal's boots.
Hey, listen, if you want to delude yourself into thinking that midfield's better, be my guest in it. But I'm not taking a single one of their midfielders.
Well, Caicedo walks into Arsenal's midfield. without.
They wanted him first, didn't they?
So
By the way, that word walks is actually okay. I like it's Chelsea PR. Okay, listen, let me just put it. It's Don's PR basically on YouTube, and a lot of people took it. Caicedo has been good this season, right? But he hasn't been like been outstanding, right? He has been good. Gravenberch has been great. The other one that I'm gonna say that yes, Caicedo has been. The word outstanding is for me, Don. The word outstanding, it means Haaland breaking the record. It means Palmer last season was outstanding.
So what metric are you giving Caicedo?
I literally give you a metric. I'm going to tell you, Salah this season is on the verge of breaking the record to be forever in the history books of the Premier League by breaking the 47. That's called an outstanding season, a historical season. Caicedo has had a good season for Chelsea. Gravenberch, for example, because he's not there.
What's the metric?
I'm giving you a benchmark. That is the metric.
No, but you said for Salah. You said for Salah.
It's not a benchmark for a DM.
You said for Salah. You said Salah's metric. You said Salah's metric is the GA. Yeah, you just said Palmer's metric was the GA. So what's the metric for Caicedo, bro?
When I'm watching Caicedo, I think Caicedo is being let down by your manager in that midfield, 100%. And I said that to you many times.
Who's won the ball back most than that? In terms of his defensive metrics, bro.
And he's still been exposed this season because your manager has Enzo and Palmer. Are we going through this again?
Yeah, but bro, one of the main reasons why our defense is not even collapsing a lot of the time is because of Caicedo, bro. Like Caicedo has been fantastic.
He's plugging a big hole.
And one of the reasons you have been wide open, one of the reasons why you have been wide open defensively, because Caicedo's being left alone in the midfield. Is it his fault? It might not be.
No, it isn't. But
exactly.
I'm saying.
But hold on. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give you an idea. Let me give you. Odegaard this season has been used in a much deeper role than he used to be before. He's been asked to go and pick the ball back from the defense, but people don't give him and say your manager is putting you in these positions. There is a problem, Don, with the analysis of a player. We only analyze what's in front of us. Caicedo this season, offensively has been all right. Defensively, he has been good when he needed to defend. But in a lot of games, your DM has been left alone to defend for himself because you have Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer. This is why he plays better when Lavia's there. And that is not my fault. That is your manager's fault.
Yeah, but Mo, I get what you're saying. And there's been games, especially over the Christmas period, where we played
exactly.
We played alone six. Yeah, but during that period, we were facing
second half, Fulham second half. I can go on and on.
During that period, we were playing a lot of teams that just sit back. So we like Caicedo playing in that diamond by himself was fine. And there's been many games this season where he's been in the diamond by himself and he's just clattering, man, taking the ball off of them, bro. Right?
And he did.
I get what you're saying, but it kind of sounds to me like you're saying Caicedo's not been.
I'm not saying he has been.
I think he's saying he hasn't been outstanding, which would put him on a different tier where Salah is performing like the best. You know, outstanding is a very. You could say he's been good.
We're not comparing a DM to
I think it's been fantastic.
All I'm going to say that. For example, let me give you an example.
The word, Kel, it's the use of the word. When you say somebody's been outstanding,
I mean different
like,
tier.
That's different, yeah.
I think
like Rodri has a different. Like I think. Okay, let me tell you. I think a cat between Gravenberch, Caicedo. There is a conversation to be had this season. One of the players had a better parts of the season. The others had better parts of the season. That by itself means Caicedo was not outstanding. Outstanding means nobody is in your level. Everyone is below you. I'm going to give you another name. I actually think that, and I know Jess doesn't like this, Thomas Partey, when he's played as a DM this season, not a freaking right back, because Arteta somehow decides to do that, has had a very, very good performances. When Thomas Partey played at the DM this season, he played very well. But the problem is it's masked by the times he played as right back. That's the problem. But that's the whole point about Chelsea's midfield. Enzo Fernandez has been good offensively, but Palmer has fell off a cliff lately. And we're not talking about it. More injuries were not the issues for Arsenal. They were undisciplined with the red cards.
That was the beginning of the season. They haven't had a red card in a long time. So I don't know if that argument's
the whole undisciplined with red cards is like, okay.
I would say second yellows versus like red cards. Very different.
I mean, if it wasn't Arsenal and you asked a normal football fan, should somebody get a second yellow for kicking the ball away? Most people would say no, but because it's Arsenal, they're like, yeah, but you were just selling discipline.
But it's the rules, though.
Dumb
It's
rule.
the rules.
Get rid of the rules.
Okay,
It's the rule.
have
It's the rule
that.
more than anything.
Cool.
If you know
forcing that shit on the keepers,
risk,
man.
Jess,
if you know the
it
rules are
was
there,
the
if you know
freaking
the rules
rule.
are there,
They were briefed about it before the season started.
I'm
Literally.
sorry.
rule.
You guys know I'm right. You can try all you want. Yeah,
No,
I'm
we
actually
don't
with
know.
Jess on this. It's a dumb rule, man. I would have done
because it was Arsenal. No football fan
Nah,
on the
it's not even that.
plate, on the
Don't play
face.
that. Just
Blank.
don't play
Just
that
blank
card.
it. Just blank it.
Don't play that card, because if that was my player that did that, if my player did that, I'll be fucking fuming at them for being an idiot. I would be fuming at them. I would, because regardless of whether I agree with the rules are there. Yeah. So if you kick the ball away, you know that you're running the risk of getting booked. So if you're stupid enough to go and do that, you get yourself sent off. I'm pissed at you, bro. I'm pissed at the player. What the fuck are you doing? I would. How are you telling me what I would do?
Because most football fans always contradict themselves when it happens to their club. It's always the same.
I'm not most football fans, though.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, you're not like most fans, but in reality, we all know that there's a temperature to a game. There's certain things like if the rules were just the rules, we wouldn't have referees. We would just do things by the book and have robots out there. There's a reason why refs are out there. There's a reason why some things are not red cards in certain situations, and when they are, getting a second yellow for kicking the ball away. If you want to say it's undisciplined, it's undisciplined, but we know every single one of our red cards was not undisciplined. MLS, case in point. So
that's the only one I would say. That's the only one. You're gonna say Saliba's
Hold on, Jess. That MLS red card against Wolves was a completely wrong red card. It's actually
they're
like that was a referee wanted to be the center of attention.
It's another one where people are like, yeah, but you were undisciplined, but they know like
no, that's
the
not
only
not
one for me was the Saliba one. 100% for me was
I think the Trossard in the Man City game, kicking the ball away.
You saw
Jess. Trossard kicking the ball away.
You know why?
Hold on, Jess. Why have you not? Hold on. Why have you not? Like, this is what I'm saying though. Rice got sent off against Brighton for kicking the ball away, right? And then Trossard goes and does the same thing when you've seen what's happened to your colleague already. So how can you be angry at the rules rather than your player for being a fool? I'm
not angry at the rules.
No, but you just said any football fan would just say that, oh yeah, you're kicking the ball away. It's fine.
Yeah, because you know why? Because on a daily basis, when we watch the Premier League, we see so many players kick the ball away, whether they have a yellow card or not, and nothing happens. And nobody's sitting there being like, oh my gosh, you risk getting the card, because we all know that on a normal basis, you're not getting sent off for the second yellow. Everybody does it. Everyone does it. Everyone does it. I'm sorry. It just is what it is.
For as long as we've been watching football, I'm sorry. For as long as we've been watching football, right, it's been inconsistent in terms of decision making. One ref might see one challenge as a red, another ref will see it as a solid yellow. It is where it is. Every ref reads different situations differently. Some refs will see a guy kick the ball away, they'll just look at them and say, yo, last chance. Others will be like, no, you're gone. So you can't really, I get it. It's a problem with the league and how inconsistent they are. I understand that point. But for me personally, if one of my players did that, I'm fuming at my player for doing that. I'm fuming at them. They know what the rules are.
Let's move on. Let me do the super chat. Let me do the super chat. Joe here is saying it is impossible to have contingency plans for every situation. So with injuries, the benchmark is how far you drop below the level. Arsenal are still second. That is basically what Arteta.
Some players you just can't replace.
That is basically what Arteta said. It's exact. Joe, it's literally what he said. He said that other. By the way, when Chelsea had injuries last season, they were 12s.
And that's the thing about this whole like. People see clips from press conferences and they make up their own idea about what the manager was trying to say. Like, I think even Amorim recently got clipped for something and they made it try to sound like he was saying that they needed to win the league this season. Maybe just watch the whole presser. Arteta wasn't saying it was a trophy. Nobody was saying it was the best thing in the world. Obviously, we have failed this season in terms of what we're supposed to do from the beginning, but most teams would not be in the situation where we are. I mean, we're going into a semifinal against or quarterfinal against Real Madrid in the Champions League. It is what it is, you know. So it's not.
I actually, do you know what? People are gonna call me I sim for Arsenal. I actually agree with him. In this term, they failed in terms of the objective. Arsenal should have won the league this season.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the falling off thing, because I am seeing Pep Guardiola and I've seen Chelsea with injuries, right? I'm gonna say he didn't fall off like them. Guys, we're 20 likes away from 200. We still have 550 people in the house. Better midfield or better midfield, not the same.
I actually really like that comment, because when we were talking about the difference between the two midfields, as much as I don't think our midfielders have had consistent performances, I just think our midfield in general is, as a collective, plays better than Chelsea's on a regular basis.
I agree.
Individuals,
I would agree with that too.
Because over the last 2 seasons, like I said, like 2 seasons ago, when we drew to Chelsea 2-2 at their place, I remember being on a stream with Don and he was saying, we're this fat, we're this far, we're close to you, we're this and that. You guys have had probably a good team on paper for a long time. And this is when the last Chelsea fan came on. I was like, 1 minute on paper, your team is way better than ours. And then now you have to get rid of all these players. It's having good players on paper is totally different than a team gelling together. I think our midfield is better, you know, than yours and has been over the last 2 seasons. But the individuals are good in your midfield. I'm not saying that they're not.
How is your midfield better? What's the metric you're judging it on?
Where we are in the league.
No, but it's a team game though. It's not just
and that's because of your midfield. I don't know.
Right? How is your midfield better than mine? Let's talk about our midfield. Let's just separate the midfield now. Partey, Rice, and Odegaard.
Bro, they don't have offense. They don't have any attack, and they are still the same.
No. I want to know what she's judging this on. I want to know what she's judging this on. Right? How is your midfield better than mine?
I would just say when we play our games, we have control over the game. We don't get ripped open as much as you guys. We're more consistent. That's what I would say. I just think we're more consistent. The only thing we're not probably more consistent on is I would say Cole Palmer has special moments that I would love for some of our midfielders to have, but moments don't make a season. I think over the season, we're more consistent.
Consistent in what sense, though? Consistent in creating
performances.
They don't have the dips. They don't have the dips.
What's the metric here, though? Because what you're saying, you're just saying words. I don't know what you mean.
Are you moving into a statman, Don, now? Is that what happened to you?
Listen, I always use the stats to back up my eyes. And the stats are backing up my eyes. And they're not
I never knew you like this.
Okay.
Well, of course, stats are part of the game. I'll use them as part of
I know, I like stats.
We all
watch Arsenal.
We all have opinions, though. If he thinks his midfield is better, that's fair. I think there's a complete difference between where we were in December and where we are now. We are in March now. And at the beginning of the season, you guys were performing a lot better. Now we're talking about your performances. They're falling off in the second half. I just think in general, we're more consistent. I think our midfield, if anything, if you guys are better, it may be marginal, but I still just think when I watch our midfield, I just don't see the drop off that I see from yours. So
I'm going to tell you the difference, Don. Let me explain.
And that's fine. And Liverpool's midfield has been better than ours, Kel. I agree.
Let me explain to you guys.
Far.
No, but Jess, let me ask you though. You said, hold on, Mo, before you come in. Let me and Jess go back and forth, Mo. Come on now, right? Good. She said you don't see the drop off. What's the drop off you see in Chelsea's midfield? I want to see how you visualize my midfield and if that's the case.
Not able to control
where Enzo fits in.
There are games where you guys play against teams that are from if you looked at the two teams, should not even be going back and forth with you guys. You guys don't control games. I feel like sometimes that comes from your midfield. That's what my eye is telling me. Maybe the stats tell me that you guys are controlling every single thing. But then at the end of games, we wouldn't be talking about how Chelsea couldn't control the game in the second half. That comes from your midfield. Your midfield controls the game.
It sounds like anything. It sounds like you're describing how we were playing last season. Because last season,
I'm describing what I'm seeing this season.
I get it.
There was a period this season where you guys couldn't win a game. You guys went
I agree with you. Like over the Christmas periods, it wasn't so much our creativity; it was more our attack. It wasn't so much a lack of control in the middle. It was more Jackson kept missing 1,000,001 chances, and then before you know it, you can see the goal, right? And people need to understand, the way we play, we basically play Palmer and Enzo in advanced positions, which means that you're on the transition when you lose the ball. players are going to run through that midfield. It happens to Man City a lot. Kel will tell you. But the difference with Man City, they had Rodri there.
My midfield's not in this debate because we're shit.
The reason why Man City are conceding a lot more goals this time is because they haven't got a destroyer that can help on the transition, right? Whereas with us, Caicedo...
yeah, we're missing a Ballon d'Or winner.
Yeah, we won a Ballon d'Or, right? But for us, Caicedo's
Best
been
player
doing
in the
that
world.
start of the season, on and off the ball, especially with Lavia, right? Off the ball, we were very good. I can give you the example when we played Aston Villa. For me, that's still our best performance this season. We wiped these guys 3-0. We had Caicedo inverting from right back. Lavia started. Enzo started. Palmer started. We weren't giving these guys any time on the ball, right?
And Villa have a really good midfield too.
Yeah.
I put them up there as like one of the top 5 in the league.
Our midfield at the beginning was more fluid, I would say, right? But what I would say with Arsenal's midfield, off the ball, you guys are very good because in terms of the profile that you've got a Rice who's more switched on off the ball, and then you've got Partey as well, who's more physical, right? And then you've got Odegaard. Whereas with us, the only real physical guy we've got without Lavia is Caicedo. But when you talk about us offensively, Jess, it's night and day for me. It's night and day for me, right? Palmer, again, like I said, he's been poor this season in comparison to last season, right? But there's been many games this season where he's been very good. He's still got 20 GA, which is not a joke in the Prem, right? You've got Enzo, that's added more GA to his game. And on top of that, people like to talk about how poor he is off the ball. He's been very good off the ball in a lot of games this season, where he's even won the ball back more times than Caicedo, right? And you talk about Caicedo, this guy's been, like I said, for me, he's been fantastic this season, yeah? On and off the ball, you know what I mean? So when I'm judging it with the GA, I'm looking at how they've played individually as well. A lot of these guys, we're talking about Enzo is back to his best. We're talking about Caicedo is now back to his best. But whereas with you guys, you're talking about Odegaard's been poor. Rice, even at the beginning of the season, he was slow. He started to pick up a little bit. He's been okay in recent weeks, right? And then Partey's been a steady Eddie. So when I'm comparing the two, I'm sorry, Jess, I've got to give it to my midfield this season. They've been better than yours. Last year, your midfield was better. Ours was being cut open because of how Poch was setting us up. Gallagher running away, leaving so much space. This year, it's been night and day, right? You saw how Lavia was playing against Man City first game of the season. We went to Anfield. Lavia was controlling the game. You talk about controlling the game.
You can count on, though.
You're talking about controlling the game. When we went to Anfield, Slot even said after the game, this is the first team really that I would say they played better than us. You know, we were clinical, but they played better than us, right? So I think it's been a mix, innit? But for me, I think it's night and day. I think the major difference with Chelsea and Arsenal this season is your defense, for me, personally.
Okay.
Handkeeper.
Goalkeeper, of course.
I'm just gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you something.
Your defense.
You know, Odegaard.
I'm not sure it's night and day. I think ultimately, even if our team is not playing at the top standard, it's still much better than what you guys create, even when you guys are like at your tip-top best. Because I still just feel like you're talking about this in comparison to what you guys have been over the last couple of seasons, which hasn't been very good. So everything that they do now, since it's coming a little bit more together, seems good. But that doesn't mean that it's better than what we're giving. It's in comparison to what you've been doing.
Your team in the middle, like I said, is stale. You're not creating at a good rate right now.
Well, let me give you a good example. Whenever we play against you, your midfield does nothing. If our midfield is so stale, why is it then when we play you guys mano y mano? Chelsea v Arsenal. Last season and this season. Like a couple of days ago, Don. It was just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
It was just a couple of days ago. Stale Partey, stale Rice, fucked up Odegaard. You got washed by a bad Arsenal.
When there was a washing. That's what you call washing.
Bad.
When there was a washing.
Man.
You guys were shit.
Because last season.
You know what, Don? The only reason why it wasn't more is because our attack is ass. Everybody watched that game. We watched with our eyes, Don.
Of course, but Jess, listen, you're talking about every time you buck our midfield. You came to the bridge last season. Our midfield was bopping you guys about, right? To the point where it was winning 2-0, right? And then Sanchez, that bozo, decides to give Rice a free shot on goal when he did fuck all before that, by the way. He was doing nothing on the pitch. Odegaard was doing nothing on the pitch, right? I think Partey even started that game. He was doing nothing on the pitch, yeah?
Jorginho started that game.
Who's it, Jorginho?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was Jorginho, actually. You're right. Because I remember Zinchenko came off at half-time. He was getting cooked by Sterling, right? And then the second half of the season, we play you at the Emirates. Enzo Fernandez literally had a hernia. He had a fucking hernia. We're still playing Gallagher in that midfield. Caicedo on an island by himself. This year at the Bridge, again, another tight game. There was nothing in it with our midfield, really. You know what I mean? It was a very tight game. So I don't understand why you're talking as if every time we play you lot, your midfield boxes off the park. It's not the case.
I think Arsenal have drawn at the Bridge the last 2 games.
Yeah, we have.
And
And they're talking about it's their training ground and they're drawn games. Like,
they drew at the Bridge, and then the year before that, Kel, they beat us with a Gabriel header. The year we finished 12th, Arsenal
that
beat
was like
us
a last minute thing too, wasn't it?
And it was a corner.
Yeah.
It was a corner they scored from. Other than that, they did nothing to us.
Corner FC.
So I don't get where this.
We don't watch the games. So we don't watch the games. Okay, I'm just making sure.
You're saying that you boxed my midfield then last season and this season at the Bridge.
When we played you guys and we beat you 1-0 with the Gabriel header, we were much better than you. When we played you guys at the Bridge,
I agree with that in the first one. I agree with that.
The only time in the last like 5 times we played you guys that you guys have even done decent was the 2-2. I'll give you that.
Which one was the 2-2
this season?
The 2-2
last draws. I hope that really contributed to
last season. We should have beaten you in that game, Jess. We should have beaten you. You know this.
Yeah. So you had a shoulda, woulda, coulda, no wins. And when we all watched with our eyes, there was never a game outside of that one where you could say that you thought that you were better than us, because ain't no way that you think that you were better than us. Ain't no way. A couple of weeks ago, you thought you were better. Caicedo and Enzo were running around doing up, oh, big man, oh, I'm going to beat you and bully you. But they couldn't get near us. You had an Odegaard that's been playing stuff. Bro,
if you were so much better than them, you should have won the game.
Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. Last couple seasons, your midfield hasn't done anything against ours except for once. So mano y mano.
And your better.
It's not better. It's better on paper. It's better on paper. It's a shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's a shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Your midfield, okay, cool, that's fine. If you hold on, Jesse,
if it was a couple degrees hotter, we would have done better.
Oh God, you're blaming the weather now. Oh geez.
You're gonna back your boys.
If it was an hour later, it would have been better.
You know what, Jess? You're gonna back your boys. I hear it. I respect it. Right?
I am.
Well, I'm just glad that you're happy with Rice in the 8. I'm glad you're happy with Odegaard. Right? I'm glad that you're happy with. Obviously, not Partey. You're not happy with him. You want Zubimendi and whatnot. But I hope you keep the midfield as it is. I honestly hope you keep it as it is. I'm telling you, bro.
I would keep their midfield.
I'm just saying that
their midfield hasn't been the same honestly since they lost Xhaka.
It's been over a year.
That guy's lost.
The last time we've been on a stream together, one of the last times we were on it was after you guys drew to us 2-2, and you sat up there on that stream and said, "We're so close to you. Everything that we're doing is better than you. We shouldn't be this close to you," and you still haven't beat us since. That's all I'm saying. I really don't think our midfield is like yours is heads and tails above ours. I think that is wild. If anything, it's close.
I'm a mid-off between these midfields, to be honest.
Heads and tails.
We're never going to be able to beat the Mighty Gooners now. Then, yeah, can we just get it on record? We're never going to be able to beat you guys, right?
Well, we also did skip over the 5-0, but I know you.
I did skip over it. I literally mentioned it. I said
you did.
No, I didn't. I said Enzo Fernandez had a hernia, running about injured. I was fucking there at the Emirates, getting FaceTime by a fucking Lee Gunner because we're getting smoked and seeing bare red teeth.
Oh, Sanchez did this. Hernia that. The wind was this. It was too cold. It was too hot. Oh my gosh,
sounds like Jurgen Klopp excuses.
It's been 5 years. Your midfield is good, but it's not better than ours, even on our worst day. And that's just what you expect.
Jess, I'm literally watching a man. I'm there at the bridge, not the bridge, at the Emirates, right? Your fucking library of a stadium, by the way. I'm there watching my man.
I don't care
limping around, yeah, getting shifted off the ball as if he can't even hold himself together. And you're telling me I should just ignore that? Are you being serious?
That's too big. You need to.
That's calm anyway, man.
She's in league.
I was recovery guy anyway. I was Bukay's recovery guy. I'm hearing he's back for Fulham. Is he back? Yeah.
Who?
Bukayo, is he back?
Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
He's back
for Champions League. He's not going to play next week. He's going to play the weekend and the Champions League.
I'm saying.
Are they trying to just shorten his career even further? I'm sorry. I don't.
To be honest with you, I'm just looking at him like individually. Yes, Chelsea's midfield might be good, Okay, but why is Arsenal midfield look more consistent? You know exactly what you're going to get from this Arsenal
I
midfield.
think these are both
Chelsea's
midfield, though. These are not.
I think you lot just
great.
Arsenal
You
midfield
overrate
is
Arsenal.
not, guys.
I think
Arsenal
it's a
midfield is not mid.
I think it
Arsenal
is.
midfield. Okay, let me give you. If Arsenal midfield is mid and their attack is ass,
Arsenal's
why are
midfield
Arsenal
looks like
second?
bitches
Mo,
to
Mo, I've
Newcastle
been
for how many
asking
games
that
in a row?
same question
Why are
for
Arsenal
years
second?
now. If nobody on our team is good, our attack is shit, our midfield is shit, our coach is shit, everything is shit, then why does everybody? Well, you're supposed to win the league. You would never predict a team to win the league that you think is ass. You would never do that. Our midfield is not ass. Our
I never
midfield
called
is
it
not
ass.
ass.
I didn't
It
say it
is
was
never
not.
ass. I said it was just mid.
I just think that there's
Well, it's
others
not
in the
mid.
league.
It's
There's
not
other
mid.
midfielders. There's
I
other
think it
midfielders in the
is.
league that I rate. There's other midfielders
Like
in the
I
league.
said,
that I
y'all
rate
look
more
like
than you.
punk bitches to Newcastle's midfield.
Yeah. Listen,
So
hey.
that's why.
Listen, Bruno Guimaraes, he walks into our midfield. Caicedo does not.
Tonali walks into everybody's midfield.
Caicedo does not.
She
he
said
does.
Caicedo. You see what I mean? This is just Arsenal Defense League right now. She said Caicedo does not walk into them.
Yes, he
The
does.
same Caicedo they wanted
Yeah,
first.
but
by
that
the way.
is the
Not so
problem.
Caicedo
funny,
Rice
not so
would
funny,
be
but
a
conversation no
dominating
more, yeah?
pivot.
word-
That'd be,
the
that'd
word-
be actually really
That is
good.
crazy.
Don,
That is a crazy take.
the word walk means someone is levels above that midfield. That is the word walk.
No, I'm sorry, bro. That is a crazy take. You know what's so funny about Arsenal fans as well? Yeah, I know how these gooners work. I've been around them for too long. You know what I mean, right? If these
Living and
men signed Caicedo in that January and Chelsea signed Declan Rice, they would be crashing Rice every moment they get. Now is Caicedo don't come into our midfield, it doesn't make it in there.
I think
never-
Caicedo makes it in.
Oh
the
my
Arsenal
gosh.
midfield.
She never
We've been
said
waiting-
that. That's the problem.
They have Caicedo for 2 years now, and this is the first season where he's had an actual he's had a good enough performances. They go from was he ever worth 115 million to he's better than everyone else. He's not. He's having his first good season since you bought him.
He was good.
Like,
He was good
Just
last year, though,
be
Jess.
happy with what you got. Just say, you know what? He's having a great season for us, but that doesn't mean that he's better than yours. It does.
Your club
Does he not
wanted
get
him-
any
your
sort of
club wanted
grace
him
because of
first.
the new manager, new
I
style?
don't give a Cal, I don't care. I don't care because nobody with $100 million price tag gets a pass. No one does.
Well,
100 million
Declan Rice
pounds,
has had
no
the same
pass.
manager playing basically the same way. He hasn't had a lot of change, and Caicedo's had
I
quite a
know.
bit of
I know.
change.
Don has to go back to
I
work.
can't believe it. So Partey
Let me-
basically started ahead of Caicedo.
Let me do this super chest before we go on.
I'm picking Caicedo after that
e-
human being.
Even as an 8, Caicedo started ahead of Rice. I'm so
over
sorry.
him.
So sorry.
Even
I'm picking
Okay.
Caicedo in that.
He's
okay,
never-
Caicedo is good, which at Chelsea looks outstanding.
Oh.
Why
Joe
people say-
understands. For
I don't get- I
you. For you.
Why
This
do
is
people
like
say-
this is I apply this to my own club. Just because we have good players, when we start talking about, oh, our player could do this against whatever player at Barcelona, blah, blah, blah. No, it's good for us. It's not good for them. It applies to you. It applies to you. Caicedo
What
is
do you
good
mean
for
it applies
you,
to us?
but
I
that
don't-
doesn't
I
mean he's
don't-
better for us.
I don't get that logic though, because Caicedo is better than Partey at this moment in time. That's a fact, right? And Caicedo's a better box to box than Rice because offensively the guy can actually consistently create. That's number one, right? And for me, I think you actually even score more goals in that 8 position. Yeah, that's why I want Lavia to come back so he can actually have someone behind him to help him, right? For you to say that Caicedo don't start in your midfield is absolutely crazy. I'm so sorry. And then to try and diminish his performances this season, saying, "Oh, it only looks good for you guys,"
Okay,
as
You
if
want-
we're
you know
20th,
what?
as if we're 20th in the league. We're literally 4th.
you know what? I'm gonna tell you one thing. Well, I'm gonna do the rest of the super chat. You know, sometimes Liverpool fans do this for McAllister. They say, "Oh my God, McAllister is amazing. He's exceptional. He is this and that." No, McAllister has been good, but he's not exceptional. Like, you can just say he has been good, he has been great. Exceptional means Rodri, Ballon d'Or season, Salah this season, Van Dijk for the majority of his career, Cole Palmer last season. That is exceptional season. Not like Caicedo has been good, above good, but he has not been outstanding, like at all. Like outstanding is wild. Not by the way, no one at Arsenal has been outstanding. No
I said
Saliba, no-
Caicedo's been fantastic, man. That's what I said.
Like he's not. Is he levels above Gravenberch this season?
No, it's not levels. That's the only guy that can.
Same
really
conversation, right? Same conversation we can say.
But for me, he's been better than Gravenberch. For me, yes.
Okay, so opinions will differ then. That is the whole point. That's how you lost the league, bro. The invisibility cloak is talking about the.
You're talking about Caicedo, as in not buying Caicedo? Is that what you're referring to?
I think not buying in January or something like this.
They literally wanted this guy first. They wouldn't have bought him and Rice. Impossible. No way.
Midfield as a team is better than Chelsea if it makes sense. That's what Jess is saying. As a collective, Arsenal midfield is more consistent. You know what you're getting. Chelsea's midfield has been up and down.
Yeah,
Palmer has been up and down.
A fucking lack of consistent creativity. That's what I know I'm getting from them. You know what I mean? They can run about as much as they want off the ball and get the ball back. What are you doing offensively, bro? What are you doing offensively? You know what I mean? Why am I seeing a centre back playing as an 8? Why?
Can I tell you that Declan Rice has created only 4 big chances less than Cole Palmer and 5 more than Enzo?
Rice takes their corners. We know how good he is on corners, bro. Let's not do this. Because if you talk about open play, he's not even on that list. Yeah? He's not even on that list. And you're not going to tell me that Rice creates a lot of chances in open play, Mo. You're not going to do that.
He doesn't. But corners is part of the game, just to be honest.
It is part of the game, but that's a set piece.
Having someone who can play a set piece is a weapon that a lot of people want. So
yeah, but
people take it against Rice. Like instead of taking it something that he excels at, taking set piece.
You're trying to make it his main attribute. What I'm saying to you is, if I want,
it's one of his main attributes, taking corners.
No, but what I'm saying is, sorry, not main attribute. You're making it the most important attribute right now, right? For me, I want my midfielder to be able to create an open play first and be able to take corners, bro. That's an addition.
But that's why we say Chelsea need an attacking midfielder. That is me and you.
Attacking midfielder. We literally have Palmer, bro. What are you talking about?
I think you meant Arsenal.
Teams in the league.
But also, like, as much as you're saying that Enzo Fernandez is doing this and Declan Rice can't do that, Declan actually has the same, if not more, GA this season than, and I'm talking goals too, like than Enzo Fernandez. So our DM is doing just fine. Like he's fine. If he can get as much GA as the amazing Enzo Fernandez, if not more, I'm pretty sure he'll survive. I think he'll be okay. He does.
Let's.
I don't rate Enzo, so
I like amazing Enzo Fernandez. The way she put it on, the way she put it out is like, if the wash Declan Rice is having the same GA as Enzo Fernandez.
I'm just saying.
I hope
just a couple goals in Champions League. I know, fine.
Only City, Liverpool, Newcastle, Spurs have not played 10 men behind the ball against Arsenal. They know open game is a loss. How many for Chelsea, Don? A lot of people play low block against Chelsea, by the way. A lot of people
play low block against us.
I just have to tell you, read something. If I'm not mistaken, Chelsea averages higher ball position than Arsenal this season. That means Chelsea more in control of the opposition than Arsenal. So that is wrong, by the way.
And that's why when Jess was saying that our midfield lacks control, I'm like, one of the
no. The reason control is not ball position. By the way, Man City is still number 1, Don, but they lack control still. You get the point. Man City still in position. They're number 1. But we all watch Man City and we know that midfield had 0 control. Even Man City fans say, we are all over the place, even though we have the ball.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it comes to Chelsea, the strongest part of our team this season for me has actually been our midfield. That's probably been the
strongest part of your team is your midfield.
But
that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. Your strongest point can be your defense is not good and your goalkeeper's not good. Let's just say that. So your midfield being better doesn't mean that you're controlling all these games. And
I never said that. I never said that we're controlling every single game, because that would be a lie for me to say that. But what I'm saying is, this season I have seen enough games this season, a lot of games this season where our midfield are just bopping teams. Yeah, bopping teams around, but then there's been a lack of subs where guys are getting tired on the pitch. That's where I've got to look at Maresca, right? There's been a lack of finishing up top. Our conversion rate in the league is one of the worst. So it's not just down to our midfield. There's been so many different components of our team that aren't functioning properly at the minute. Do you know what I'm saying? Including our manager.
Couple of more. AMT saying, I hope you keep your midfield too, Don. I am watching you.
Brother, listen, you see our midfield, yeah? When we get a striker that can fucking finish consistently, you're going to see Enzo's numbers go up.
You're going to challenge next season.
Numbers go up. Bro, that's going to give us a bigger chance of challenging. Of course it is. All right?
All right, then.
Only Southampton have a worse conversion rate than Chelsea this year, I believe.
I know. From the forwards, yes. That is awful.
Bad that is, bro?
That is horrific. Some boys saying, big up us. Guys, we still have about 600 people in the house and we're not even on 300 likes. Hit that like button, people. Hit that like button. Thank you so much, Chombe, for the super chat. Appreciate you so much. Hit that like button, people. PD saying, how does Caicedo start over Rice as an 8 when his output is wank? Don't come at me with the eyes test bullshit and half turns and whatnot. Rice is clear, mate.
Bro, if you go look at who's made the most. If you go look at the midfielder that's made the most final third passes, it's Caicedo. And this guy's even been playing as a DM. The amount of times I see Caicedo just split defenses, right, from the pass, one touch, yeah? His passing range is actually unbelievable, this guy. You know what I mean? That's one thing that he actually has over Kante. Because Kante's passing range weren't the greatest. Caicedo can win the ball back, but his passing range is very good. And I told Monts from day one, this guy's an 8. We just need Lavia to stay fit so he can play there.
Good luck with that.
Lavia is not going to be there. You know that. There's something. I
was
here when Chelsea finished 6th.
Let him go.
If you finish 6th, Don, you'll have to be Maresca. By the way, you all have to be Maresca out.
Bro, listen, we need to finish in the top 5 in it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I can't overly blame Maresca. If he's setting the team up well, Mo, and I'm seeing Jackson just missing, I've got to look at the player more. By the way, it's the same percentage last season for the forwards, but no one gave Pochettino any excuses. No. I don't think
you still missed a lot of chances.
There wasn't a single Chelsea fan that said it's all on Poch. But the thing that we had a problem with is most of the time we saw Poch from early doors not setting the team up well. With Maresca, we saw him have a very good start. He's gone through a big drop off. He can finish the season off well, bro. You know,
you're still 3rd last season and big chances missed. Yes.
Yeah, I know. This season, bro, again, we're up there. Like we're not.
You're 2nd. I think you're 2nd this season. So
yeah,
okay.
we are. We're 2nd to Liverpool.
Joe Green saying Thomas Partey's flair and creativity is underrated. You know, he's all right. Not creative as much, Joe. Not as creative as.
I think people are living in 2022.
Like he's not as creative.
Partey doesn't have the drop of the shoulder anymore like he used to. Them knees are done, you know. So, but yeah.
Then what is Caicedo good at? Please explain. He just explained AMT. He literally
he's good at stuff. I'm not saying Caicedo is shit or anything.
Caicedo's a fan. Really I'm gonna tell you something. I think Caicedo on the ball is better than Rice. I think Rice is a better DM in terms of defense, tackling and covering.
But Caicedo's defensive metrics have been clear of Rice. He's been better than him defensively.
Because you just said because Rice hasn't played DM this season.
Bro, can I speak on that too? I think when you watch us play, we just sit in the other team's half for like a million years and just try to unpick the lock. Like our defensive numbers are never going to be high because Arteta sets up the team. So we don't have to, we never play the basketball game. We don't. If we had to play the basketball game more, he would have better defensive numbers. We don't have to do last ditch tackles. We're not winning. You know, we usually have the fucking ball. So
that's like us as well, though. That's like us as well. It's just there's been a few selective games this season where it's been a bit of ping pong, but most of the time we're doing what you do.
Most of the time, Chelsea actually camp. It's actually by numbers and positioning wise. Chelsea camp, but Chelsea don't do what Arsenal do. Chelsea don't do the passing around the 18. Chelsea have the ball mostly in a halfway line. You pass it the ball. So Arsenal basically are way higher on the pitch than Chelsea.
Yeah. I just don't see where we're going to get the defensive numbers because we just don't. The only people that have to defend
Declan Rice, you know, Declan Rice played in the DM like 4 games this season only. Like he was asked to defend 4 games this season.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Palmer is elite, but
when people say, "Oh, Rice is better than Caicedo defensively," bro, it's just a nothing comment because Caicedo,
it's not.
They're both elite off the ball. They're both elite off the ball. So you're like,
I think Declan Rice covers more ground. Declan Rice covers more ground for me. He's
I literally saw Rice. I literally saw Rice against fucking West Ham on a transition, trying to chase back here, and man's getting. You can't get anywhere near the ball, bro. Right? I don't know why people act as if Rice don't get run past as well, bro. There's bare games.
Everybody gets run past.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Rodri's too slow as well. Like.
Yeah, but people talk about Rice
slow.
The point that I'm making here, Mo, is that people talk about Rice off the ball as if he's flawless, as if every time you come up against him,
nobody talks about him like he's flawless. You take somebody rating Rice over Caicedo as somebody saying that he's perfect, and that's not true. Also, I will say Declan has the intangibles that I don't think I've seen Caicedo have yet. He comes up with big goals and big moments. Caicedo does not.
Caicedo literally scored a goal against United to make sure we didn't lose that game.
Yeah, so it's the one goal that he scored. It's the one goal he scored this season. I just want to make sure it's the one goal that he scored this season. It's the one goal that he scored this season.
Yeah, maybe because he's not playing as an 8. So if you play him as an 8, he'll be closer.
What are some of these massive goals Rice has scored?
Declan Rice last season.
Goals he scored as well. All these massive goals he scored this season. Tell her.
He has scored big goals this season.
Again,
he scored big goals last season too.
Not Liverpool, sorry. It was United.
He scored a big goal against
the clutch goal against Chelsea. Against Luton.
Yeah, he scored a big goal against Manchester United. That was his first goal.
Anyone scoring that goal, Mo, man. The guy, the ball got past to him last season. What are we doing?
Hold on. Do you think anyone will put that in the back of the net from halfway line?
Bro, it wasn't from the halfway line.
Anyone?
It wasn't
anyone
from
in the world
line.
will put that ball in the goal?
Let's not stretch it, bro. This guy's a professional footballer. I expect most of these footballers to be able to just wrap it.
I'm expecting 80% of the professional footballers.
Have you watched Darwin Nunes?
You know what I mean?
I'm expecting 80%. Okay, let me tell you the reality. You play ball, I play ball. 80% of the midfielders in the world will miss an open net from halfway line if the ball is coming to them and they don't have to sit up their body.
From the halfway line.
Do you see what I'm saying? Though it's like the top midfielders. No,
the top
I'm
midfielders in the league are finishing that, bro. He literally passed the ball to Rice and gave him an open goal to aim at. I'm sorry, bro. That's basically like passing it to your teammate on the other side of the pitch. It's all about accuracy there, bro. You know what I mean? Let's not act as if Rice ran through our midfield and banged it in.
No one said that.
But that's not. Anytime you say something good about Rice, he over exaggerates and he hears Rice is a Ballon d'Or winner. That's what he's hearing.
To be honest with you, I think Caicedo has more ability. For example, for a team like Man City, if Pep Guardiola chooses a midfielder tomorrow, he's choosing Caicedo. Why? He's better on the ball. I think he suits Man City more. You get my point, right? But Declan Rice also has ability on the ball that a lot of other, like I believe Declan Rice, for example, with two creative midfielders would work way better than Caicedo with two creative midfielders. Why? Because I believe that Declan Rice will cover more ground to cover these two attacking midfielders. For example, Declan Rice, Palmer.
What happens in build-up? What happens in build-up, Mo?
If you have...
Why is he not even angling his body?
Let me answer.
Not angling the ball. We don't have problems in build-up. What are you... Like, what are you talking about here?
Yeah, because the Odegaard does the job.
Hold on. Jess, you see Rice, when I'm watching Rice in that first phase trying to pick up the ball, my God, my eyes bleed. You know what I'm saying? My fucking eyes bleed because I see my man not even trying to angle his body.
I bleed watching both of these guys, but
Caicedo in that first phase.
Your eyes, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to have like oh my gosh, the angle bias and all this kind of stuff. Just be a normal football fan. We all have our preferences. Rice is not your cup of tea. That's fine. But that does not mean that Caicedo is light years ahead of him.
I never said he's like, hey, I just think that off the ball.
I don't think Rice is light years ahead of Caicedo, though.
I'm actually not
no one
saying
said
that either.
Again.
They're both light years behind Rodri.
He is hearing that Rice is heads and tails above Caicedo. But he's the one who said his midfield is heads and tails. I'm not saying that. I'm not.
I'm just saying that when people talk about Rice being better off the ball, I think it's a myth. I think they're both elite off the ball, and we should keep it as that, personally.
Okay.
Palmer is elite. I know people have to go. We gotta go, bro. Palmer is elite, but wouldn't make Arteta's midfield. I think he would start over Odegaard. He would start over Odegaard, Joe.
Yeah, he would. Absolutely, he would.
Okay. For a Chelsea fan this season, Don chats out of shit. Why? They're
What
four.
No. Listen, you don't love Mo glazing you lot. All you want is just glaze and man to slob you off. I'm here to tell you the realness about your club. If you don't like it, that's your problem.
Oh,
you know what I mean? You
Oh
don't
my
like it,
goodness.
the truth hurts. The truth hurts. That's what it is.
Think
I
about
just
it.
remember who's won a trophy.
I am one of the
recently
only
between the two
people
of you
that
guys.
actually said that Chelsea would make top 4 based on what I've seen in preseason. But you let me down. Your manager let me down, to be honest with you. Not your players, your manager. Don thinks Chelsea have better midfield and better attackers than Arsenal, but the teams are miles apart in terms of performances, results for 2 seasons. Is that only because of the defense, Don? Do you think like Chelsea, Arsenal are better just because of the defense?
Bro, I've told you this already, bro. They've literally they've got 9 more points than us. They've got 9 more points than us. They've got a lot of draws this season. You went and checked. They've got 10 draws, right?
Yes.
There's their 10 points made up already, bro. They've got a good defense to fall back on. Even though their attack might not be firing, Martinelli shit, Trossard shit, Havertz thinking out of the place, only Saka turning up. They've got a good defense to fall back on. Whereas with us, we go up in a lot of games first, bro. Then all of a sudden, you're seeing someone doing some stupid shit. Sanchez throwing the ball into the back of the net, right? One guy just losing the ball in some crazy position, you know? So, bro, that's what it is for me. It's the defense right now. That's the main difference.
Pep Guardiola literally wanted Rice and made a bid. Yes, but he wanted Declan Rice to accommodate Rodri. We are talking about a DM, someone to replace Rodri. I think it would be Caicedo. AMT saying, what is crazy though?
Pivot. They could have.
Yes.
Rice could have sat back and Rodri could have pushed forward. You guys are underrating Rodri going forward.
All I know is we all know that Rice could have played in the City system as well, but
what is crazy
they not been if they can play in the system. So
Saka only has 16 games and has a joint second assists in the league with 10. That shows how we missed him. That is so true, though. Arsenal have missed Saka. That is poor planning, to be honest.
Saka's been very good this season. Before Saka got injured, he was performing better than Palmer. Yeah, because people think I just hate Arsenal. I'm telling you the truth. Saka was turning up this season. Saka was turning up this season, bro.
Anyway, listen, people. I know that this has been a great show. Pick up Don and Jess. That was entertaining, to be honest. It's been entertaining, but at least it was objective for opinions. Like people have different opinions.
Mine were. I don't know about Don. You admit that you were being a little, had your Chelsea colored glasses on, blue colored glasses, just a little bit.
You need to stream with me more, man. Trust me. Don't listen to these people in the chat. They just don't like that I don't overly glaze your club. That's what it is.
Bro, we literally sat here and we had episodes, me and Jess just slagging off Arsenal that they failed. Like, weeks.
I haven't been on the stream all season where anybody said anything nice about Arsenal. So, not once.
All season, Don. We've been slagging off Arsenal. Anyway, listen, people, that was great. This will take you to Osam. Don CFC. He's going to do a show with Goonie. Of course, Goonie wanted to go to Chelsea, of course, soon. It's not today, maybe tomorrow. She knows Arsenal. Jessica Black, of course, in the description as well. Her new channel. It's actually great content. If she just is going to upload more videos as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow in the National League. This has been absolutely fantastic and elite show. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Hit that like before you go. Subscribe if you're new.
Everyone tune into True City Fan later for the Pat and Cal's banter show.
Yay.
True City Fan Patrick's channel. And I will see you guys soon. We're out of here, people.